Hey guys, Dan Malone here for MassLive.com, alongside, as always, Andrew Sear of the Massachusetts Daily Collegian. We're here at the Mullen Center on Wednesday night following the Minutemen's 74-57 loss to St. Joe's at home here. This was a game that I thought kind of played out a little bit like the first St. Joe's game back in Philadelphia last month, where UMass played a good game, a tough game through the first half. They were within 4 at halftime. Which could have been 2 if they didn't give up, if they didn't completely botch the end of the first half there. And then they kind of just got steamrolled through the second half, where DeAndre Bembry comes out and does DeAndre Bembry things, the stuff that we hadn't seen in the first game, really hadn't seen dating back all the way to last season, where he ended up with 18 points. But it seemed like he had a lot more than that, because he scored 6 in a row at one point. He was grabbing rebounds, he was stealing passes, he blocked a shot, he dished out 4 assists. And this is all with foul trouble. He picked up a 3rd foul in the opening minute of the second half and played through it for about like 8 minutes or so, 7 or 8 minutes. And UMass, I thought maybe probably should have done more to get him out of the game, but they didn't. He took advantage, and they ended up with a 17-point lead at some point before they finally got him out. And from there, UMass clawed back a little bit. He came back in, settled it down, and that was really the story of the second half, where they just weren't really. They never really took advantage of everything to put themselves in position to kind of overcome that.
Yeah, and when Bembry came out, UMass was able to. They got it down to 8 at one point with 6 minutes, 14 seconds left, I believe it was. And at that point, you're like, okay, there's 6 minutes left. UMass is on an 11-2 run. Dante Clark had just rattled off 9 quick points. Is there something left in the tank? And then, like you said, Bembry came back in the game. It completely changed the tone of the game. All of a sudden, you look up, and I think it was 3:22 later, what was an 8-point deficit was now a 20-point.
It was 71-51. It's like, what happened?
Yeah,
how did this
it happened
just fall apart so
happened
quickly?
in the blink of an eye. You saw Trey Davis get blocked on one play. Then they came down. Papa Now hit a 3. Isaiah Miles hit a 3 during that stretch. Bembry had that kind of steal and dunk on Jabari Hines.
And that was Bembry with the block. He did that with 4 fouls.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of players in this conference that you don't trust to make that play. He's one of them that you do. He's got that body control. He's that good. He had another one where he had a tip out. Yeah. He reached in. I think it was either Jabari or Trey. They're getting ready to blow by him. He just kind of reached in there and tipped it out for the steal. That's how good he is, that he can control his body, that he can make those impact plays even when he's dealing with fouls. Obviously, he wasn't going to be able to do all the things that he can, but he was still the reason that they kind of settled down. They stopped that momentum that UMass maybe it was trying to grow, and they pulled away again and made this game, the final score was more lopsided than it was for a lot of the game.
Yeah, and for UMass to even be in that position, they got to consider themselves lucky. 2 of 22 shooting threes
today.
Another
dismal night.
That's a day. No matter who your opponent is, UMass is not 99.9% of the time. UMass is not going to win when they're shooting.
They didn't make one in the first half. They started 0 for 11.
Yeah.
And the only reason they were in the game is because they were shooting like 67, 68% on all other shots.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, even when they do that, it's clear that they don't have enough firepower to overcome a night when Trey Davis isn't making shots, and it takes 24 minutes of game time for Jabari to finally hit one, and it was. They can't win, like you said, when they play like that.
Yeah, and you also look, aside from Clark and Hines, there was virtually no other offense. I think the rest of the team combined for, 18 or something like that, aside from the 39 that the 2 of those had. So once again, UMass didn't have a post presence, a problem that's been recurring. We saw Space.
They didn't even try because Space got picked up a couple fouls. Rashawn Holloway didn't even come into the end of the game. It was one of those games where they were going to go small, and they went super small. At one point, they had Zach and Seth in there with Trey, Jabari, and Dante.
Yeah, and they also had.
And then Seth got a foul, and they went with CJ. So they were going back to that 4-guard look. That was actually something that hurt them, because St. Joe's went on a 10-2 run when they went small like that. So they don't have the talent to stay big against some of these teams. And when you play against a team like St. Joe's, which is now in first place in Atlantic 10, they can take advantage of those lineups, and it made UMass pay.
It did. And another play we haven't talked about yet was Isaiah Miles. Another guy, another 20 and 9 night, but at 4 or 5 from 3. And I think that's what really kind of separates him from some of the other bigs in the Atlantic 10.
He can step out. Yeah.
He can step out and knock that 3. He had the one late in the game that really set the game out of reach.
UMass doesn't have anyone who can guard that, and Derek will tell you that. They don't have someone who consistently play on both ends against someone like that.
Yeah, and St. Joe's is a team that you got to watch out for in Brooklyn. This is a team that has more than capable of going on a run in Brooklyn. I think there might be a tournament team at large, even if they don't.
I'd say they definitely are at this point.
Yeah,
I think they are.
They're a very good team. They're right up there with VCU Dayton as the best in the conference. And like we said, you can't shoot like this. You can't let Bembry, you can't let Miles get hot if you want to come away with wins, even if you're at home.
Miles had 47 points in 2 games against them. Trey Davis had 14 in 2 games against St. Joe's. These are not going to be games that he looks back fondly on. He was just out of sorts both games the whole way through.
Yep, and Bembry's now 5-0 in his career against UMass.
Yeah, it's he's really good. He's fun to watch play. He's one of those guys that I would want to go see play even if I wasn't covering that game. He just does a whole bunch of little things from the way he kind of tips out. Like he had that tip out steal that led to the dunk that was kind of like the metaphorical cap on the game. He can block shots. He's not a huge guy, but he can get up. He grabs rebounds. He steals rebounds for the big guys that you think that are going to get it. He can make. He's got some court vision. He makes passes. He brings the ball up. He's kind of in that point forward role. Derek actually compared him to LeBron James early in the season in what he does for that team. Who knows? He might be declining for the NBA draft after this year. If he does, I don't think anyone would fault him for that. I, for one, will be sad to see him go. UMass won't be sad to see him go. UMass,
he's a fun player to watch.
He's a fun player to watch. He's not a fun player to play against if you're the Minutemen, and he showed that again tonight. So, this is a loss I think people were already chalking up for UMass just because, again, St. Joe's is first in the conference. There will be more games in kind of this final stretch where UMass can maybe steal and pull out a couple wins before getting to Brooklyn. St. Joe's, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing them down at the Barclays Center, see what they can do. UMass, not so much.
Yeah.
All right. So we're neither of us will be at St. Bonaventure on Saturday, unfortunately. So I guess we'll see you back here at some point, either for the Sal, maybe we'll go to Rhode Island. Yeah. Who knows? But that's all for us for tonight, and we'll catch you later.